So going forward, how I wanted to start the call is basically we've got a lot of newcomers on this call, and I wanted to take you through the GRP Advisor Alliance Financial Wellness Program and just give you a quick overview of how it's set up to work. And then what I'd like to do is hand it over to, kind of Dave, Barbara, and Joe to talk about their, twist and spin in the marketplace and open it up for Q&A. So basically, what is financial wellness? And we define financial wellness as a program designed to improve employees' financial behavior while also driving a positive business impact. I'm not going to go through this slide. This PowerPoint is available for you. It's got some good talking points, and we've got a host of other resources available to help support the sales and management process. But why are financial wellness programs trending? Essentially today in America, 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 84% of employees report having some degree of financial stress. Financial stress is the #1 driver behind negative and behind divorce. And poor health care correlates into higher costs all around for individuals and employees. I think from an employer perspective, taking the slide from the bottom, I think the most compelling, statistic for us to pay attention to is today 40% of employers with more than 1,000 employees now offer financial wellness programs.
On what?
There's a I'm going to a mute button, please. There's a great study from the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau
$12 more.
Indicating that for every dollar a company spends on financial wellness, they recoup $3 in increased productivity, sick leave, et cetera. So there's some really statistics out there as far as why advisors should be in this business. First and foremost, I would say it's about survival. I can speak from direct experience. My mother recently retired at 72 from Massachusetts General Hospital, which hails themselves as being one of an employer of choice and one of the a role model employer. And I went to her with a lot of her decision-making meetings about her benefits, and I was frankly blown away at how in the financial services marketplace the healthcare industry is moving. And they're bringing out wellness models, and they're working with financial planners because of the perception that they are objective and unbiased. And they really have to help coaching and training participants in how to budget to plan for these escalating healthcare costs. So really, financial wellness is an offspring of the healthcare industry, and as these benefits worlds collide, it's really a need of survival. If you're not in this financial wellness game, it's only a matter of time before your clients and prospects hear about this from somebody else if they don't hear it from you. So I joined GRPAA in November, and we are working very closely with a lot of large practices on how to really take your service model apart and put it back together, incorporating financial wellness. And personally, I find it exciting after 20 years of spending a lot of time and energy and money on 401k meetings and 401k calculators and 401k this and 401k that. I think we've finally found a benefit and a program that really resonates with employers and employees, and it's just a refreshing approach for you to take out there in the marketplace, and the success rates speak for themselves. And frankly, it gets us out of the 401k mud, and it allows you to engage with participants and employers in kind of a new, refreshing way. I'd also like to say that I think that for those of you that are interested in capturing ancillary business, tuning into the calls that NAPA just hosted yesterday and other expert opinions coming out there, I think this financial wellness program really positions you well in the face of these new regulatory requirements. When you're looking to capture rollovers, your conversations with these individuals are part of a much bigger holistic picture. Yes, the rollover options are part and parcel to that, but I think it's a win-win all around as far as you adapting your practice to be more in tune with the new regulatory environment and to engage with participants in a much more realistic way than just coming at them with 408B2, 401k, 404As, all that jazz. So I want to make sure you guys get ample time with 3 of the best advisors in this business. So I'm just going to take a couple minutes to talk to you about how the Financial Finesse program works. So we formed a partnership with Financial Finesse. We have an exclusive relationship with them with competitive pricing that allows you to really go out to the marketplace and mark up these plans and win. So GRPAA, as you know, those of you that are on this call, you've been invited to this call because you represent who we think are some of the most elite providers in the country, who are committed to being, providing the best of the best services out there. Financial Finesse, we'll talk a little bit about the competitive landscape in a minute, but they are, we consider to be the nation's leading workplace education provider. They have truly partnered with us in taking their patent pending engine and truly working to integrate the advisor into that equation. And this is absolutely singular in the marketplace. This is a scalable engine. This engine supports over 2.4 million participants with representative and clients, including Viacom, Aetna, NFL, General Mills. So how it basically works is everything drives to a web-based engine. So if your client says, yes, I want to incorporate, this program, how it works is you basically say, so the client says, okay, we want to incorporate a financial wellness program starting June 1st. So we say, great, the client fills out a work order, we get their logo, they get a custom portal and environment, and I just want to pull this up. Bear with me. I'm trying to get out of here. But basically, all roads lead to a web-based assessment, and hang on. Just gets me to where I want to go. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulty. Thank you for your patience. All roads lead to this, web-based tool. So this is the Financial Learning Center. And for those of you that haven't done this, I'll send you the demo link. I highly encourage you to, go in there and complete this financial assessment. So when you go into the portal,
No, that's fine.
it's going to be branded to your client, and then to get as many participants as possible to complete this online assessment. And what makes this unique is basically how I answer these questions is going to drive the follow-up questions. And at the end of this assessment, it's going to give me a very specific, there's background noise, if you can please hit mute. So then at the end of completing the assessment, I'm going to get a personal action plan that tells me where my weak spots are. I need to save more for retirement. I need to my income, et cetera. And then down below, it drives me to very quick Fred Flintstone-friendly links or articles that, that are located in this learning center to help me take proactive steps that, improve my financial outlook. So the program works. This is a sample welcome kit. And how it works with your client is here's a summary of some best practices. Send out an email drip campaign once a week for the first month, and and typically clients use a raffle. So if the client says we want to start June 1st, starting May 1, once a week, we're going to send these quick little email campaigns or promos that are customized to your client, and they can also be customized to you. So down here is where you have the opportunity to put your logo and your contact information to constantly be promoting your services to participants on an ongoing basis. This link will take them to their custom URL with their company logo in it and everything. And for the first 4 weeks, companies usually have some kind of raffle or incentive, like an iPad, or some companies have done $1,000 or $2,000 towards a mortgage payment or a free PTO day. But once the 30 days is up, the goal is to get as many people to complete the assessment as possible. And then once the 30 days is up, Financial Finesse goes in and completes this employer report. And this employer report is where you can really get down and dirty with the clients and take a look at, okay, they call it by age, by income, and it shows where that company's employees' stresses are and what subject matters they're stressed about. And I'll let Barbara talk about some specific examples that she's had, but this is just, here's a summary. The key priorities for this company is retirement planning, money management, debt management. So there's a whole curriculum of accompanying PowerPoints and workbooks that you can use to augment any additional learning opportunities that you identify. So here are the steps. You promote the heck out of the Learning Center. You get as many people to complete the assessment as possible. You get the employer report, and you drive it from there. The good news and bad news about this program is that it's designed for you to incorporate elements of your practice that you want to. So do you want to capture ancillary business and rollover business, or do you not want to? Do you want to deliver webinars? Do you not want to deliver webinars? We're going to go back to that in a second, but let's take a look at pricing, the pricing that we've negotiated.
Barbara,
So
when I took you off mute, I hung up by mistake. I'm sorry. Amy?
Oh, that's okay. Thanks.
No, you're just passing it to me. Sorry about that.
That's okay, thank you. The GRP pricing that we've negotiated is incredibly competitive. It has ample room in there for you to mark your services up and still compete and win. So look across here, you've got from 1 to 249 employees. The Financial Learning Center costs $2,500. Now, an option with the Financial Finesse platform is they have a helpline that's staffed with 15 certified financial planners that have about 15 years experience, and that's an optional per participant charge. We're seeing, and I'll let Joe and those guys talk about it, but a lot of practitioners are inserting themselves into that equation. They're promoting their offices and their 800 numbers of helpline, but again, this is just an option as part of the Financial Finesse deal that we've struck. Now, I want to take a look, for those of you that are with LPL, this will resonate with you. For those of you that are not, it will give you a sense of, the margin opportunity here. So Smart Dollar is another institutional financial wellness provider that, plays all in the Fortune 100 or 200 environment. Take a look across the, at 500 employees, our negotiated price is $4,000. If that client was to go to Financial Finesse directly, they'd be, charged $80,000. With the LPL Smart Dollar discount, that, number is almost $9,000, and Smart Dollar retail would be $22,000. So you can see the difference here. You can still mark that $4,000 up to, you can double it to $8,000 and still be the best priced, excellent provider out there. Let's talk a little bit about strategic and pricing before I'm going to go switch the order here. So just to give you a quick overview of the competitive landscape, Tier 1, sort of up in the Fortune 100 universe, you've got Financial Finesse, Smart Dollar, and LearnBest. So LearnBest was acquired by Northwest a couple of years ago, so that's now a captive product to them. Smart Dollar, many of you may be familiar with them or not. It's a very specific message that's delivered through that tool, and it's really just a debt eliminator, blaster. It has proactive videos and learning stuff, but it does not incorporate the advisor into that equation. And there are places where that's appropriate, but we feel that Financial Finesse for the broader range of our clients is more appropriate. It goes wider and deeper and has more customization that incorporates you into that equation and enables you to capture ancillary business. On the smaller side, we have some boutique shops that have emerged over the years that many of us are familiar with, retirement financial soundings, but essentially, really, I think Financial Finesse is the only institutional scalable engine that is incorporating you into this equation. So this is where I'm going to stop and ask, does anybody have any general questions about how the program works? It's a web-based driven portal. It's supported by an ongoing marketing drip campaign. It's once a year for 30 days, you promote the heck out of it with an incentive of sorts. That employer report is generated, and year on year, you get to sit with your client and essentially go through good news because you can't go backwards. So any questions on just generally how the Financial Finesse platform works? Okay, great. And thank you for your...
Can I ask one question? This is Terry Anderson.
Sure.
What type of participation in taking the surveys do you typically see with the DRIP campaign? And I know it takes a lot from the employer, from the top down, kind of driving, but what would be a measurement of great participation versus poor?
So a statistic that we were given originally from Financial Finesse is that on average there's about a 30% adoption rate, and with an incentive, and without an incentive it's about 15%. We're tracking demographics because basically, Financial Finesse created this arrangement with GRPAA to help bring these programs down market. We're experiencing a much higher success rate because, the companies that you guys are working with, don't have 100,000 employees. There's some really cool success stories out there. I'll let Dave and Barbara and Joe chime in when they can, but it's, all sorts of clever things out there. We had, is it Tim Timmerman, had the CEO of their company, shut off the internet for 15 minutes and made everyone complete it. We had another guy that they had a mandatory enrollment meeting. And the beauty about this assessment is that you can take it on your iPhone. So if you get everyone in a room, just take 10 minutes and make them do it. It's we're having much higher success rates. And I know Dave, you did some. Well, when we get to you, you've done some of your own experiments with incentives, without incentives. But I would gander to put that number closer to 40% with what we're seeing out there. Joe or Dave or Barbara, you want to comment?
Yeah, this is Dave. I can contest. The last two cases we did with a 25 life group, which is obviously a small audience, but they're a good center of influence. We had 100% participation in that, all 25 people. The 300 life we just did, we're at 50%, and the assessment window is still open for 10 more days. So we think we'll probably run into 60 to 70% on that particular case.
That's awesome.
Amy,
yes.
How do you track or how do you measure success and if the program's working, other than people using it? But do you know if you're reducing their debt or getting them to, increase their savings? How do you measure success?
So this report will, and you know what, I can send you and I can distribute to everybody. There's a year-on-year report. So because you're constantly driving, the drip campaigns drive everyone back to the portal. So for example, if I get a drip campaign that says, what happens to my family if something happens to me, it's going to lead me back into the portal where they can track actionable steps that were taken, or I can rerun my assessment. And that's what's tracked here, so you can see the differential. So I don't know, Barbara, you probably had the most experience with renewals and stuff.
Yeah, so one of the things that we see, so the first year you can get a real live report and show where their vulnerabilities are and what's bothering them. In order to show meaningful improvement, you have to go to year 2. And when you have the assessment window open, you're going to find two things. Number one, word of mouth, more people are going to take it. So you do get a bigger demographic going in. And then you can clearly show your client improvements in scores. And that's the goal. Sometimes you can see other things pop up. So for example, we had a workforce where the older folks did not go online and take it, but the second year they did. And one of the vulnerabilities that came up was wills and estate planning. So we were able to do a workshop on wills and estate planning the second year. So we're in our third year on one client now, and the window just opened last week. So we'll be able to hopefully show scores improving year over year.
That's excellent. So, and for those of you, we have another call scheduled after Nashville. What is it? On the 27th, Wellness Wednesdays, and it's going to be like, now I sold it. What do I do? So, we'll get deeper into how to mine it and go forward. But what we've had a lot of questions on is strategic positioning and pricing. So I just want to go through this PowerPoint that we put together to help illustrate the kind of the various ways for you to engage and design your services and pricing around this. And then I'd like to hand it over to my three amigos, Dave, Joe, and Barbara, to talk about how they're doing it. But, we laid it out into bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And going across, every client's going to get a standard drip campaign. So, we're going to work with you and your clients to make sure these monthly drip campaigns are customized and say everything you want to say on there. Custom Financial Learning Center. Every client is going to get a custom, financial learning center with their logo, a URL that's unique to their organization that tracks activity. Now, this is optional, so the dedicated financial helpline for an extra cost is additional. Now here's where your options come in. You can choose to throw out your 800 number and your team as a helpline. One of our goals to help better support you with this platform is for us to be driving GRPAA generic financial wellness training webinars out of GRPAA Central, so you don't have to do anything, but you can offer those to your clients, and they would be general calls, obviously not branded. Then you could choose to offer general webcasts to all of your clients, or you could choose to do custom workshops for your clients. And then I know some of you out there are getting really busy and doing custom campaigns. So if you have a client, financial finesse, their marketing materials for the NFL have goalposts and things everywhere. So it's up to you to decide how into the weeds you want to get, and it's up to us to help you support you designing this. But I guess I'd like to turn it over to, Joe, are you on? Who wants to take it first? Joe, can I go to you to talk about how you segmented your services?
Sure. So we're the rookies here compared to Barb and Dave. So as I mentioned last time, we're a little bit further than we are at the last call. But what we've done is we've actually positioned this on new opportunities. So basically in 2 RFPs and 4 opportunities that we were introduced, and it helped us win so far 2 cases of a pretty good size for us. And the real driver was we're trying to separate ourselves from the rest of the pack. So we focused our RFP, our answers to the RFP, and the finalist interviews to participant engagement. And that was centered around financial literacy and making folks more comfortable to make financial decisions. So we, frankly, as I think I might have mentioned last time, we underpriced the heck out of it the first 2, because once we got the employer engaged, they actually wanted to do a lot more than we knew we should be, more than we were planning on doing. But as a learning for our organization, we decided to go for it, even though we're not even breaking even on it, because the plan size was enough to dictate that was a good win all around. But I would be careful on the pricing and really take a look at doing a couple different levels like Amy showed, so you can talk it through with the employer, because you definitely need, and Barbara will stress this too, I'm sure, and Dave as well, you definitely need engagement from the committee and or HR, whoever's running with this. Somebody at the organization needs to own it. And we found that we have one individual that really owns it at a company with 350 employees, and she is driving it and really is helping us bribe the folks to take the assessment, just get us to where we need to be, and is also very engaged in the communication, the custom communication that we're doing. So overall, I would say, one, we use it as a tool to help us win business, but now that we're actually putting it into play, we're seeing that it's a lot more than that. It's everything we've been preaching for a long time is now a true deliverable, rather than patchworking together some education and communication. So I would say take a look at this, study the strategic positioning and pricing, and kind of figure out what's right for your organization first, meaning can you handle it? And then second, how engaged is the employer going to be, because they really help drive employee engagement. So the idea of the CEO shutting off the internet access for 15 minutes definitely works in a lot of places that are dependent on constant connectivity. So I mean, it's a great idea. We didn't think of that, and I wish I did, but we're using raffle items every week for folks to take the assessment rather than just a one-time win of an iPad or whatever the case may be. We're doing weekly raffles on takes the assessment and then a grand prize. So there's all sorts of things you can do there, but that's just to get them engaged. We found that once the information that Financial Finesse had, statistics, as once people take the assessment, they start to pay attention to it a little bit more. We found that is actually true. So it's really important to drive the very first steps on how you roll it out and kind of follow GRPAA's positioning of it, how they have the drip campaigns and so forth. So given all that, I would say it's really important from a business model perspective for you to take a look at your book and figure out, one, am I going to use this with existing clients, which is probably the least amount of risk, frankly, Or 2, am I going to learn it on a new opportunity? And 3, am I going to use it to help win business? Because it does separate you a little bit from the pack. It's just one of many things that you can use to separate yourselves. So, Amy, does that answer the question?
I was wondering if you could sort of a little bit more about your scheduling of services. You know, so what is the logic behind how you develop the silver, gold, platinum level?
Yeah, so we came up with the idea, and I'm sure it was out there already, so I shouldn't say we came up with the idea. We're deploying the silver, platinum, gold, and titanium, actually, as our other level if they want the call center, as a way to, one, have employers to check their level of engagement, to see how committed they are to it, right? So I feel if we offer this greatest thing since sliced bread for $4,000, of course they're going to say, that sounds great. So we wanted to have some price differentiation so we can actually have the employers more engaged in helping us roll it out. So it's really their program, and we're just facilitating it. And I think that's a major difference compared to what I thought we would do at first, where we would just roll it out and then we would handle everything. We really need buy-in from them. So what we found is by offering different levels, it tests their level of commitment to the program. And you'll find that most employers that you're bringing this in on, depending on the size, the cost is not that big of a difference if you're actually selling it as a benefit, because this is truly a benefit to their organization, to their employees. So once they get that, they'll probably move up in what program they want. And then secondly, we also did that to give folks the opportunity to kind of get their toes wet, and if we're really good at delivering it, then year after year from a renewal standpoint, they're going to move up with what level of programs they accept. So that was the logic behind it. We actually tested that first, just so you can see it in the marketplace. We tested it first on an RFP. We didn't test it with one of our existing clients. We threw it into an existing client for pretty close to cost and told them, hey, this is the first time we are delivering it. This is a proven system, but we got to get some kinks out, and we like your help, so we'll give it to you for cost. Everybody else, now we're going in and giving them different levels. So it's some form of a profit center for us, potentially, but more importantly, so we can continue to deliver the appropriate service that this needs for it to really take off.
Yeah, Joe, you've got some good points there, and I think, you know, for a lot of you, you just got to, you know, jump in the deep end and embrace a new service, and you know, we're happy to work with you on incorporating it into your model. But one good idea we heard out there was, you know, somebody almost had sort of a little like grant-like process for their existing clients and said, you know, we're, you know, looking at, you know, incorporating financial wellness into our suite of services for all the good things that it does. You know, we're going to be looking to give away, you know, one plan to, and they had sort of an application process, and they chose, you know, who they thought was most deserving of a free financial wellness pilot, and you know, it was a win-win. It was a feel-good for the client. It gave the advisor team an opportunity to, you know, kind of work out the kinks on a friendly situation, and you know, move from there. So. Dave, I know you do things a little bit differently, and another cool thing is that this program, it's broker-dealer, it's platform agnostic. So meaning if you know, a lot of providers, you know, the term financial wellness out there is being coined everywhere now, and this, I like the fact that it's separate and distinct, and if you need to change a platform provider out, you know, you don't disrupt this component. So I think it creates stickiness, and to that point, it can be sold on a standalone basis. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Dave, or Dave, to talk a little about how you're doing it out there.
Yeah, we're in the marketing stage of it, and I think this is probably, I think there's 9, I jotted down like 9 reasons that we're doing financial finesse and financial wellness, or a combination thereof. And I think that you know, we've had some great successes, and I'll just point that out first. We had we got a hold of an HR company. They liked the idea. They shot out an email. Their conference room only holds 30 companies. It sold out in like 30 minutes. So we are now offering a second seminar. We already have 90 companies coming to it. And what we're focusing on is just the marketing aspects of it. We have 2 up and running, and probably about 15 quotes out there that are pretty close to being operational. But if I was just to drop down a list of why it's important to market it right now, it's number one, I'd say it's a hot topic. I mean, everybody that we brought it up to is always said, you know, I've heard about it, I have an interest in it, I just don't know what it is. Number two, it can customize your communication packages. If you do communication packages to, you know, your clients, it helps us kind of focus in, and I think Amy showed that on one of the slides there. When you get those demographics, you can really focus on what the participants are interested in. Number three, it's another thing for us to offer plan sponsors. You know, we've been talking 401k defined benefit plans forever, but this is a really new and a refreshing topic. Four, it's a door opener. I just told you about all the prospects we just got. I would say that 70% of them, that number's made up, but it's probably pretty close, are new opportunities for us that once you get in the door, you know, we can then start looking at the 401k. That's the reason to sell it as a standalone. Number five, stickiness. Once we get in there and get the 401k or get this, we're just getting that much more intimate with the client. It's going to, you know, add to our retention, which is already good. Six, and Joe said this one already, it's a low-cost benefit. I mean, when you do the math on this and the sheet that Amy had put up there earlier, you know, you're talking about an annual cost benefit of anywhere from $28 to $32 with both phases put into it. Seven, it can create, you know, additional opportunities for you if you're in the wealth management side of the practice as well. Number eight, it's helping us get into larger cases. We've been in kind of a more small case operation out here for a long time, doing a lot of case count, but we're getting into a lot larger cases with this. And number nine, a reason to do it is, one, if you're affiliated with a benefit shop, you tie that into with the benefits shop, and you know, they'll talk the wellness for you and help you generate leads. If you're not tied into a benefit shop, it's a good opportunity to call on one and make them a partner and start talking financial finesse to them and have them help market it for you. So those are the 9 reasons that we got excited about it, and we've been marketing the heck out of it and getting a lot of interest and traction.
I like those 9 reasons, Dave.
Okay.
Write those down.
I'll put them in a memo, apparently.
What drivers do you use regarding pricing, Dave? What factors do you take into consideration?
Yeah, I've struggled like this a little bit, like Joe has too, because it is a little bit labor intensive, and like anything is, when you first start using it, it's a little bit labor intensive. I'm sure that once we get a number of these on our belt, we'll be a lot more efficient at it. But what we did is we went to our first round. We went to Center of Influences and put a very small profit margin in there and put the labor side of it in, and they now are, you know, getting the word out. Like, these are HR organizations, CPA firms, those type of things that can reach other folks, put it into their operations, and they then are mentioned to their clients. So that's how we started with it. As far as and we priced it very narrow for those. I would say with the time spent, we're probably on the negative side a little bit if you want to put man hours or female hours into that. Going forward, the ones that we're quoting right now, we're probably putting in about a 25 to 30% margin in it. And like Joe, I'm not sure that that's the appropriate one. I mean, this is so new. I don't know that we have figured out what. We've never had anyone balk at the cost. So might make me think that maybe we aren't charging enough. But so we're struggling a little bit with that. But and that's the beauty of this, is you got those baseline costs that Amy pointed out earlier for financial finesse or Smart Dollar or any of the other programs that we offer. But you can mark it up accordingly, so you can kind of customize it to what you think the opportunity is for you. If you're using this as a door opener, we're going to price it pretty much break even for a $300 million case, just because it's a way to get into the door. So pretty flexible on that and going forward.
Well, that's excellent. Thank you, Dave. I'm wondering why you stopped at 9. I'm going to help you come up with 10. We need a 10. Got to round it out.
You want 10? I'm sure I can come up with a couple more if you want them.
Because 10 is you get to
Well,
work with
I mean,
amazing group.
he didn't put in what Amy, one of your top reasons is somebody else is going to talk about it. You're fencing in your backyard.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe. I knew I could get to 10.
We got you to 10, Deb. my ADD, I feel better. So, and now over to you, Barb. You've been dynamite force in this industry, and I think didn't you recently win a pretty significant plan on this point alone, or can we?
Yeah, down in DC against CapTrust, double the fee of what CapTrust is charging. So that's just one thing. But from a broader perspective on why I think this is so important now, I don't know if all you guys are following what the vendors are doing, but I had a call with Prue yesterday. They're going to roll out their own wellness program. Fidelity's well into doing the wellness program, Empower. So they're all trying to get into the space. And I think with the new fiduciary rules out, we are in a much better position to provide education, and this is definitely education. And I think we now have the blessing of the DOL that the education can be above and beyond what we can do, and the opportunities for our wealth management side are huge in this. So I think we have to look at what the vendors are doing, and not only what your next door neighbor is doing, but particularly how the vendors are trying to position themselves as the provider of this for, quote, free. So I'm looking at that quite a bit. So that's reason 11 and 12, Amy.
Yeah, can I add to that? Yeah, can I add to it? I'm not going to talk fiduciary rules, as you all know. If any of you know what I do, I'm sick of talking about fiduciary rules for right now. But the thing that's happening is the race to the participant, right? That's kind of the big deal. The race to the end user or the participant has been the reason a lot of these providers are even in the marketplace. And they're seeing wellness as a great way for them to lock in that relationship over the long term. And whether the story is that they want us to be involved or not, I think you can all come to your own conclusions there. It's pretty important for us to be present in that marketplace. So if your firm has a goal of, being involved with the employee for their life or their financial life, this is kind of non-optional at this point, or it's going to be there pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it's imminent. So I'll pause here and ask, reach out to the audience. Any questions for this esteemed panel?
You use that term very loosely.
Yeah, right. No standards.
Must be Barbara. She's referring to Barbara.
No,
yeah,
you
maybe.
You guys.
Let's see. As far as some of the resources that we have here for you guys to get jump started, we've obviously started Wellness Wednesdays, so you can count on those to keep coming, and sort of different variations of subjects we'll go deeper into. We very shortly are going to be rolling out a web-based resource center where we have a host of great third-party articles, research, surveys. You'll find there's a whole suite of 11 accompanying PowerPoints and workbooks that go along with the Financial Learning Center. So when you do get that employer report, you can sit down and work with the plan sponsor on identifying subjects that you may want to go in and do further development with. We have a great plan sponsor PowerPoint. We've got a long version, a short version. We've got a terrific plan sponsor brochure that can be customized with your logo on it. For those of you that want kind of a more in-depth session, I encourage you to reach out to myself and my team here. We're happy to get on the horn and spend as much time as we need with you and your group to go through any questions that you have to better understand your model and how you can start incorporating this. And what am I missing? I think that's it. We have, for those of you that are going to be in Nashville, I have another hat that I wear. I'm president of the Women in Pension Network, and we're having a big panel and networking event the Sunday before it starts, and we've got Barb on a panel along with Jania Stout and Liz Davidson, the founder of Financial Finesse, so she'll be in Nashville running around. So if you didn't get an invitation to that and would like to come, please send me an email, and I'll make sure you get one. And I don't know, what else? There must be other questions from the group out there. We've got about 50 people on this line. Anyone?
Hey, Amy, how do we get copies of these slides?
Just shoot me an email, and I'll get them over to you.
Thank you.
So I think, if you haven't done it, and it's amazing, because I feel my mother was a teacher, and when I have done these regional workshops, the first thing I do is sit down and make the advisors in the room complete the assessment. If you haven't done it, it takes 5 to 7 minutes, and it will give you a real feel for how wide and deep this engine can go, but at the same time be Fred Flintstone friendly. And it's a great door opener. We have what we call a financial wellness orientation email that we can shoot out to you that has some great third-party articles for you to shoot to your clients and prospects, with the brochure, with a link to the demo and the employer report. But and last thing I'll throw out there is both Tim and myself. I've been getting on a ton of client calls and prospect calls. We're happy to take your clients and prospects through the demo and help you with that sales process. So engage us, and I'm going to pause again to see if there are any last questions before we wrap.
Amy?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah, this is Bob Carr. How are you? Question for you. How long does it take the typical employee to complete that assessment?
6 minutes.
6 minutes? And when you're dealing with a manufacturing company, what has been the, participation in completing that? Because I'm guessing that more your white-collar workers, I hate to paint it with a broad brush, but more your white-collar workers are going to be filling it out as opposed to, the industrial workforce, if you will.
Well,
Hey, Amy, can I address that real quick? Because that's what we're installing one now with manufacturing. And in the past, I think we've all been guilty thinking that there's not as much access to internet or interest in internet and so forth. But now when we have a manufacturing firm with 5,000 employees. We used to install terminals in the lunchrooms and all that for them to see their 401k, which nobody went on, by the way. The mobile technology, since this is mobile friendly, but I would warn you that it's mobile friendly right now on an iPhone, not a Droid yet. I think they're about to roll the Droid app out. We're finding that in my limited time here, the 2 weeks since it's been rolled out, that they're taking the assessment. So remember, you got to bribe them and you got to give them a reason to take it. So I love in that setting, in that workforce, the weekly raffle for those who take it, because the employee knows who takes it, and then a grand prize at the end. And weekly raffle doesn't need to be a free mortgage. I mean, it literally could be a gift card to whatever. People will spend 6 minutes for a gift card. So I think that we could probably get better statistics from Liz and her group, because I know they have a couple manufacturing firms there.
So is this Joe?
Yeah, it's Joe.
Yeah, Joe. This is Bob Carr.
Oh, hey, Bob. Oh, hey, Bob.
So I'm good. So would you say your experience has been similar when dealing with manufacturing companies? As I don't know if maybe you said it and I missed it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Right now, I would say in my limited experience, yes. Mm-hmm. But this same firm that I'm referring to, with most of their folks is manufacturing, once their 401k vendor went to the app environment, they also got a lot more engagement on who's using the paycheck replacement calculator, because when you go to a meeting, they all have their phones. Everybody has a phone, so they're checking scores or whatever the hell they're doing. As long as it's mobile friendly, they get engagement. And the bribing them is a big deal. I mean, you don't think they're not going to do it without this. You got to bribe them. In any white, gray, blue collar, it doesn't matter.
Got it. Thank you.
Bribery is always a good term in our business.
Yeah, it's really good. It's Phyllis on the phone.
Call too. That was a good question.
By the way, that was Dave Kulchar talking.
I'm here. I didn't hang up. I'm listening.
Great. Any other questions from the group for our esteemed panel? Well, without any more questions, I'll go ahead and wrap up today's Wellness Wednesday. Oh, is there a demographic sweet spot, Matt? Is there a demographic sweet spot? I'm going to toss that to Barbara and Dave. Anyone want to take that? As far as where you're seeing this really.
The sweet spot, I think. I've tried it, on white collars right now. I haven't done any blue collars, but Joe seems to have done some.
I'm in the middle of it. I'm not that experienced.
Yeah, and I'd say from a marketing perspective, it doesn't seem to matter, but I do have the same concern that once we do get a manufacturing, and we did have a asphalt company that we presented to, but we knew that they weren't going to get to that, so we come up with some alternative plans for it because they just didn't have the computer capabilities. So yeah, it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be industry specific, but what the capabilities are within the groups of that company.
But I think to Mike, or the question that just came up is, sort of what is the financial wellness sweet spot with this platform? So, we got a great deal with Financial Finesse because they don't really play ball under 10,000 employees. And if you look at the trending, which is why they partner with us for distribution, in the smaller, now we can certainly go above that, but that's a different deal we have with Financial Finesse. But look at the trending. 40% of companies with over 1,000 employees today have a financial wellness program in place. So the proposals that we're seeing come in are really right in that, 1,000 to 5,000 threshold. Good question. Others?
And again, with size, we've done one as low as 25 people, and they had 100% participation and loved it. And if you do the per head cost on that, that's much more cost intensive than it would be for a larger group. But they saw the value, and the feedback has been fantastic on it. So I think as long as they understand it going in, it's still not that expensive of a benefit when you amortize that cost over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, just present it next to their health insurance renewal.
Yeah, I've got one more question, Amy, if that's okay. This is Bob Carr again. How many of those that have implemented this, how many of the plan sponsors are utilizing the advisor helpline, where we're using, not internally, but externally using Financial Finesse?
Yeah, I'll take that. And there's a lower adoption rate there. Dave Kulchar has, smaller clients that have, gone for the whole enchilada. That was a preference. But in general, it's got a lower adoption rate because most, there's a huge opportunity for advisors to insert themselves into that equation if they want, But if you don't go after a participant business and that's not something you want to partner somebody for, then it's flexible.
Okay. Thanks, Barb.
I'd say less than 20% of our plans have call line.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Well, last call for questions. Well, again, I really want to thank Dave Kulchar, Joe DeNoyior, and Barbara Delaney for taking the time out of their busy schedules for this peer-to-peer Wellness Wednesday. You guys have been an incredible teammates to me and everyone on this call. I really want to encourage those of you. Again, it's not a matter of if, but really when you should get into the financial wellness business. I'm confident that we have the most competitive, scalable platform out there. No one's working harder than us and this arrangement to incorporate you into this equation in a meaningful way. Every week we're coming up with ways and ideas to make it easier and scalable and faster. We welcome any and all suggestions, and again, if we don't see you in Nashville, just reach out and schedule a time to talk with myself and/or Tim, and we'll get more acquainted with your practice and help you get in the game. So thank you, everyone, and look forward to seeing those of you in Nashville. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.